Hello students, today section number 2 I explained about the evolution of operating system, how operating system is invented. So the operating system invented various huge number of works has been done from past 1940 years onwards. That operating system design and implementation I explained last video. So this video, that how operating system was invented, that we discussed about evolution of the operating system. From that, the first the computer was invented 1940. That name of the computer is ENIAC computer. ENIAC computer means electronic, numeric and integrated computer. So this picture, have you seen this picture? This picture I took from the ENIAC website, and remembering the ENIAC computer from that picture. This is the source file. I got this picture. This picture is a very huge computer. Many people are working one computer. This occupies very huge space, That people are involved in working in this computer. 1, 2, 3 people we are seeing in this picture. They're working with the gates. They are working with the gates. This computer contains the vacuum tubes, and it occupies the huge space. And there are more than 1,000 vacuum tubes it contains, and many wires. You've seen that many wires are there here. This 1940s onwards, this computer invented. 1943 exactly, ENIAC computer was invented. So this ENIAC computer, the full form of ENIAC computer is electronic, numerical, integrated and computer. At the US Army Aberdeen Proving Ground in Maryland, it built in the 1940s. It weighted 30 tons, was 8 feet high and 3 feet deep, 1,000 feet long, contained over 18,000 vacuum tubes that were cooled by 80 air blowers. It means cooling air blowers are 80. It contains 18,000 vacuum tubes that contains. So 100 feet long. It's long 100 feet long computer. So it 30 tons weight. Weight is 30 tons. So that's a very huge computer built in 1940. So US Army Aberdeen, this Maryland, this computer was there. So ENIAC computer full form is electronic, numerical, integrated and computer. So how the computer was there? I seen this image. This is a GIF image. I got this image from source file. GIF image. So make gif.com. So ENIAC computer, the first computer. This is the source. I got this image. See, these all are vacuum tubes. See, this is a wires, parallel wires. This is the world first electronic computer. These are the vacuum tubes it contains. See the number of vacuum tubes and the longer. This 100 feet long. This is 100 feet long. This is showing 100 feet long, long distance, and weight is up to 30 tons. 30 tons of weight. 30 tons of weight, and very big computer. See that world first computer, electronic, numerical, integrated and computer. The image we seen here. This is the ENIAC computer. This 30 tons and 100 feet long, 18,000 vacuum tubes. They are cooling for the airs. 18,000 vacuum tubes. 18,000 vacuum tubes. So this is the huge big computer. We seen this image. This image here, the left bottom corner. This is this image from USA, United States of America, California. California, you've seen this image. This computer contains vacuum tubes. The structure of vacuum tubes I shown here. This is the single vacuum tubes. This such a vacuum tubes. They are not instead of diodes. They are using the vacuum tubes. So diodes are not invented in the year of they're not there in the year of 1940s. Diodes are not used. Instead of diodes, they are using the vacuum tubes. It occupies a long space. That's why it occupies a very long space. Each diode we see here. This image I drawn from the Wikipedia from vacuum tube. Wikipedia of the vacuum tubes. So in a computer, programs were loaded into memory. So there is operating system. They are using a batch processing operating system was used in a computer. The operating system has resident in the memory. This operating system was resident in memory. So the memory used memory. There was no especially in operating systems. We are either divide the memory into small jobs. So thus these jobs are there in the job pool section. These jobs are there in the job pool section. In the job pool section, each job submitted to the operating system one by one. So it takes hours and days of time to complete the one job. So see the whites are how it corrected in the NACM. That's why it takes a long time to complete the jobs. One job is giving to the next job. After the next job, it's giving to the next job. It's a long time to complete the jobs. So manually these programs were loaded into memory manually using switches. They are using switches here in a computer, using the switches and punch cards using the punch cards. The next slide I am explaining how the punch cards was built, how the paper tapes were used in this in a computer. We see in coming slides. So this in a computers, the programs were loaded into the memory. That's why these programs are in the operating system and programs are there in the memory. This is the memory, single memory. Operating systems and programs are there in the memory. One job after the next job, like that, it executing inside the memory. One job is completed, the CPU is going to idle. One job is completed, the CPU is going to idle. So that's why it take a long time to complete the one job to the next, to submit the next job. It's a long time because CPU is going to idle. If one job takes time, it's per hours and days also it takes time to complete a single job. So that's why it takes more time. So this in a computer using the punch cards. They are using the punch cards in this evolution, the operating system punch cards. So I got this image from the source file. These punch cards. These are coming from the classicomic.org. These punch cards are developed by the printers. They are using the olden days. They are using the printers. Printers they are using the olden days. These printers, each punch cards were released. One by one, the punch cards are giving the input. The computer giving the input to these punch cards. The computer taking the input to these punch cards. The computer taking input to these punch cards. So this giving input to the operating system, these punch cards. So the punch cards are taken as an input and takes a one job. So each punch card work as a one job. Job 1, so job 2, job 3, like that. That giving to the input to the CPU. Next they are using the paper tapes. So like punch cards, these paper tapes also build. Like these also jobs, giving to the jobs. Paper tapes also called as jobs. A small bubbles are there in the job in the paper type. small bubbles. They are setting to the input. They are setting to the input. So in a computer takes as the input and produce the output. Takes as input and produce the output. So this input taken to the punch cards. The punch cards takes as an input and produce the output. So these paper tapes or punch cards both are input. Paper tapes and punch cards both are input to the computer. Input to the computer that gives the output. So the punch cards input we are setting to the holes. These holes are called mentioned as zeros and ones in the form of binary digits. The binary digits to make given to the input like input. So the hole is there. This may be 0. If there is not hole, it is represented as 1. Like that, they are mentioned in the paper tapes. Paper tapes are punch cards. Both are same. Anyone takes as given as an input. Anyone. So the paper tape format like this. This is the format of the paper tape. Like zeros and ones in the binary form. These paper tape gives to the input to the computer. It produces the output. That input, the form of the input are punch cards or paper tapes. So this is the format of paper tapes. See, actually the first before this 1940s, in 1840 itself, Babbage was invented. Babbage analytical engine. It designed in 1840s by Charles Babbage, but could not be constructed by him. An earlier and simpler version is constructed in 2002 in London. After the same format was invented in 2002. 1840, the same format before invented in 2002 in London. So this Babbage analytical engine format of the computer. This is the computer structure. This is the computer structure. It's a very olden days computer. It also takes complete a job. It takes a job for 1 day or 2 days. Very long time to complete the job. Before this ENIAC computer was invented based on this analytical engine. So this analytical engine is the first engine of the computer invented 1840s by Charles Babbage. So this is the format. See, this is the cycles and gears, and this is the gears and cycles. How this works. This works. The computer format. Inside the computer. This is the engine. Inside the computer, this engine can works, and it produce the output based on this engine format. It produced the output. It was very difficult to work with these engines, because is working with this engine 2 or 3 people are working to work this engine. It takes a lot of manpower to work with this engine, and it takes the huge power is required to work with this engine. Huge power. And also cooling of this engine also required some more fans. Cooling required. It required some more fans. It's a lot of energy should be wasted. Energy consumed. Lot of energy has to be consumed in this computer. Lot of energy to be consumed. So it's very lot of disadvantages has been we seen in this computer. So in this ENIAC after analytical engine, after ENIAC computer, after that multi-programming was invented. Once multi-programming was invented, the work become easier. So more than one user interact with the computer. So before ENIAC, before analytical engine, this is the first computer. Analytical engine is the first computer. Then the next was invented was the ENIAC computer. Next invention is multi-programming in 1980s. Multi-programming. More number of users interact with the computers. That was invented in the computer. As the time went on, card readers and printers and magnet tape units were developed as additional hardware elements. Assemblers and loaders and simple utility libraries were developed as software tools. Later, offline spooling and channel programming methods were developed sequentially. After 1950, there is a concept like spooling was invented. Spooling means simultaneous simultaneous peripheral operation online. This concept was invented. So once this concept was invented, spooling, automatically the size of the computer was reduced. In 1970s, 1980s, instead of vacuum tubes, they invented the diodes. Once diodes was invented, the size of the computer becomes reduced. The times went on, automatically the size of the computer reduced, and energy should be reduced. Optimization takes place. So the portable computer came into the picture in exactly 1980s and 1990s. 1970s itself, there was one more computer was invented. That computer was PET computer. This is the PET computer. The name was Commodore PET computer. Was invented in 1977. This computer I took from the source link I given here. This computer displays in the monitor very black and white. This is a black and white monitor we seen here. This is the PET version also we seen here. So this also occupied a very huge computer, but this we seen entire one desktop picture we seen here. This can be invented 1977. But the operating system was there in this computer also, batch processing operating system. This computer also they consist of the batch processing operating system. Batch processing operating system consists of this computer. There is no multi-programming was not there in this computer. No multi-programming in this computer. No multi-programming is there in this computer. So this computer, but the one flexibility to work with this computer, because it is desktop computer, size is reduced, and energy, work with the energy should be reduced. Power consumption was reduced with this work with this computer. This computer, PET computer, invented in 1977. But there is no multi-programming in this computer. So next, after 1977, in around 1980s, multi-programming operating system came into the picture. So finally, the multi-programming came. So it means sharing of resources between more than one process. Multi-programming means several number of computers are executed at a time. The concept of the multi-programming. By multi-programming, the CPU time is not wasted, because while one process moves on some input-output work, the operating system picks in another process to execute till the current one process to input-output operation. So the users are many. User 1, user 2, user 3, and so on. Many number of users are interacting with this computer. So after this computer, before the DOS is the disk operating system. Then Windows operating system was invented. Then Linux operating system was invented. See, this is the sequential way of the invention. DOS was, Windows was, Linux was, sequence of operating systems was invented with the concept of multi-programming. The sharing of resources. The resources are memory. Memory is the one resource. Input output is the one resource. control unit is the one resource. These are the primary resource. So more than one process sharing the resources simultaneously, like memory to input output unit and control unit, sharing the resources simultaneously. The process moves some input output work. The operating system pick another process to execute till the current one process is submitted to input output. The one process submitted to the memory unit. That one process is submitted to the control unit. Like that, all processes are working with the simultaneously with the resources. So this is the way of interaction of the one process, interaction of many number of processes are executed in the many number of resources. So multi-programming is the invention to go to the with the Linux operating system. It become multi-programming, become multitasking. So that concept I will going to explain in the coming video, the multitask programming. So here I am going to explain about today PET computer, and this PET computer came from several number of computers inventions. So that Babbage, the first Babbage analytical engine, this is the first computer 1840. So from 1840 to 1940, the ENIAC computer was invented. ENIAC computer was invented 1940s. From 1940s onwards, the ENIAC computer starts working with the batch processing operating system. It's a very huge and long operating system was working with this ENIAC computer. So the working with the ENIAC computer is very difficult. 2 or 3 persons are working with this ENIAC computer. So after that, vacuum tubes are invented. In ENIAC computer consists of the vacuum tubes, because there was no diodes and resistors was there in those computers. So long time of CPU become idle because they are using switches, punch cards, paper types using in this ENIAC computer. So it's a batch processing operating system working with the ENIAC computer. There is no operating system in analytical engine, Babbage analytical engine. So then punch cards and paper tapes are used in the ENIAC computer, like to given to the input. So finally, the PET computer also working with the batch processing operating system 1977. The desktop we seen with the PET computer. Next, the final invention, the multi-programming operating system was invented. This was invented in the final with the Windows operating system. Once multi-programming system came, the job become easy, and many number of users interact with the computer with the use of multi-programming operating system. Then finally Linux operating system was invented with the concept of multitasking. The logical extension of multi-programming is multitasking, that I am going to explain in the next lecture of multitasking operating system, the multi-processing operating system. Thank you, students. Thank you very much.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.